It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Oh, let's review.
We'll analyze the scene.
Sounds holly jolly to me.
Before it's over, let's begin.
Bum.
Bum.
That's right, folks. Since the Christmas season is upon us, we thought the way to celebrate and get into the holiday spirit would be with some holiday reviews.
6 to be exact. Selected and arranged for your Yuletide pleasure.
So silver up those bells, light the multicolored lights, and go out and build a snowman as we engage in some seasonal shenanigans. And tonight we're talking about the Christmas Star Dragon. Now, would you like to regale the folks on how you discovered this one? Because this is maybe one of the more obscure things we've ever covered for seasonal shenanigans.
Oh, it's the most obscure thing we've covered for season.
No question. No question.
Well, I mean, I can't think of a question right now. Can you? I mean, sure, that Rudolph thing you should, but I'm pretty sure people have seen that. The Fletcher Rudolph.
Rudolph, yeah.
Again, there's kind of a niche for that, but I mean, this is more off the radar than I've ever seen.
Right. It's on Disney Plus if you look hard enough for it.
Okay, so
I'm saying it's on the front page of Disney Plus if you look hard enough for it, Dragon.
I'm saying before that,
it's listed under the holiday, under the holiday movies tab. It's on the front page. You just have to scroll and scroll and scroll, and eventually you'll find it. Anyways, go ahead.
Got taken away from my story when you just jump to the Disney Plus of it all, but I'll go on anyway. So, folks, so basically we're kind of looking for some material for seasonal shenanigans, and I'm looking and kind of going through. I'm expecting no surprises. Like, okay, it's pretty much what was there last year. We can't cover Noel because we already did that. So I'm going through, did Santa Claus, did those three, and we're getting there's the desperate territory. Do we want to do like that? The whole the girls who have like the snow machine. Do we want to do that? I don't think so. So we're going through, and then I kind of stumble on what the Christmas Star, and then I'm kind of gobsmacked when I find out who the Christmas Star really is. And, oh my goodness, it's Ed Asner, and it's not only Ed Asner, it's Ed Asner as Santa Claus. Now, folks, this is a big thing because Ed Asner in interviews, like I remember he did like the MTV Legends interview way back when. And he was asked, like, what was his favorite role? And he said Santa Claus. Now, Ed Asner's played Santa Claus a couple of times. Of course, famously Elf. It's kind of the go-to. That's what I always thought he was talking about. And, of course, he's done, like all of the other reindeer, did the voice of Santa. And maybe a time or two I haven't even gotten across yet, because the man has such an expansive, vast career. We love him for it. But no one, I don't think, would think this movie called The Christmas Star, where the other big hook, okay, Ed Asner Santa, I'm already sold. Then it gets to sell number 2. He plays essentially a con man Santa, plays a criminal in the guise of Santa Claus, and digging even further. But after that, if I need to be sold any further at this point, one of the dearly departed actors, I believe of this year, Rene Auberjonois, is in this movie. And I love that actor from from Boston Legal and Legend of Tarzan, and he's in it too. He plays Mr. Sumner. So I was absolutely sold by, oh my God, we got it. Tiki, I brought it up to you saying, Tiki, I think you got to look into this, man. I mean, I got a feeling that I can't vet it at all. I haven't watched it yet, because I think we should go into this one even keeled. But I tell you, man, I just got a feeling in my gut that we got to talk about this one, and here we are.
Yep. And so just to get into thesis statements on this, because obviously, Dragon, we don't really have much nostalgia for it, per se.
Certainly not.
Yeah, Dragon, I do have cons for this. To be sure, this is not a perfect movie, but God damn it, it's a charming movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it radiates the holiday spirit. Ed Asner is just a dream to watch. I mean, he's just he's so charming yet gruff, and you really feel his arc, man. That's what really got me about this movie, is that, on premise alone, it feels like it could just be like a standard kind of, it's a good-hearted con man who sees the heirs and it is that. But man, the arc in this movie is a ride. It really is. Like, this movie is not afraid to go in dark places, which is one of the big things I respect about it. So, Yeah, we'll get into it, but overall, I would say it's definitely worth a watch for sure, especially if you're, if you're a fan of Ed Asner's other work, the Carl Fredrickson of it all and other stuff. Of course, the man's got a very varied career, but if you're at all an Asner fan, I would say that this is absolutely up your alley. Check it out. I can't see anyone who's a fan of Ed Asner's work walking away unsatisfied with this.
Let's see. For me, Thesis would be this is an example of a TV movie, which it is apparently. It's for the I believe the Disney. I believe it was Disney Sunday movies. Because I don't think you watched. I sent you the clip of Eisner doing the opener for this.
Does he say hello?
Well, I mean, it's kind of. It's him and a bunch of the Disney characters, kind of like doing Christmassy stuff,
Oh God, I gotta see that.
I know this is why I wish you would watch these things, but Anyway, so. It is an example of a TV movie that lives and dies by its star, and given that the star was Ed Asner, it couldn't have been in better hands. Let's be honest. It's basically the best way I could kind of sum.
So it's like a decom before decoms, Dragon.
Yeah, so this thing has been around as long as Pixar has, Tiki. This came out in '86. It's been around for
1986.
Yes. Yet another kind of predestined sort of thing.
I know, right?
Again, one could say the stars aligned for this. Okay, he gets it. Okay, anyway, but anyway, no, but seriously though, I love the fact that again, it's been around as long as Pixar, like 34 years, I believe, and it is kind of a decom before the decoms were kind of like a brand that we would brandish, like the whole Disney Channel original movie, where it's just like it's kind of the Disney Sunday movies.
Mm-hmm.
But so this, best way I could sum this one up is that it's gonna be a weird analogy. It's kind of like a more all ages Bad Santa with whimsy and earned kind of an earned Christmas miracle at the end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, like Asner puts in the work, making that happen, and we see it firsthand, and it's the movie we got, and I'm pretty impressed by it.
Okay, so let's just dive right the hell into it, Dragon. Do we have any background for it?
Really?
No, we don't. All right, plot summary.
No one has any background on this thing. That's what I'm saying. If we had background, there'd be no background for this.
All right, plot summary.
Okay.
I was just making sure you didn't forget it, Dragon. I was just making sure.
Have we done background on any of the other 5 episodes this season?
Have we? Oh God, I'm terrible.
Yes, as if someone specifically left the background off for a reason.
I've been having a bad week.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
No, I mean that.
So let me put the movie on fast forward for the kids. Okay. So basically, long story short, a criminal counterfeiter by the name of McNichol, good name, because dollars and cents.
It's a really good name.
Especially for a counterfeiter, McNichol.
Right.
Got some bad nickels, this guy. Anyway, so a criminal counterfeiter.
You call that Ben Franklin?
Anyway. So a criminal counterfeiter by the name of McNichol, he escapes an 8 to 10 year stint in prison in order to track down the money that his partner Lucky, again apropos name, that his partner Lucky stashed in a Santa Claus display. The Santa's big, like a big old, like the chair Santa sits on. In this case, a Christmas throne. Basically, around this little Christmas throne.
So it's Iron Throne from Game of Thrones. Think that, except Christmas.
Yeah, less pointy. Pretty much. So basically, we've had the loot from their big holiday heist 8 years ago is stashed somewhere in this display. He escapes dressed as Santa Claus, which leads the Jameson children. In a very downtrodden, leads him to find the Jameson children in a very downtrodden part of town to mistake this fugitive for the real Santa Claus. Cutesy premise, I know. Stay tuned. So basically, he cons these kids into helping him regain his $500,000, which was a lot back then, believe me. As the detective who caught him 8 years ago is tracking him down. McNichol, as the detective's doing this, McNichol, he comes to learn about Christmas spirit and the error of his ways, ultimately creating a little Christmas magic of his own at the cost of his freedom, but earning the light of the Christmas star. that's the movie, more or less.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. So let's get into characters.
Let's talk about good old Horace McNichol himself. All right.
So I love the intro to this guy. Like, just like all the prisoners kind of sitting around the yard. I don't even know if it's really fully revealed that we're in a prison until we see him walking into it, right, Dragon?
Well, remember, we start off in like a little therapy session thing, where like we're doing like a little kind of like they're all like less therapy, but more just kind of having like a little seasonal get together, I guess, like a little prison circle.
Right, so I like the fact that it doesn't really emphasize the prison setting until Asner's just like, okay, boys, back to my cell.
Yep.
But I love I love how all these prisoners are just kind of sitting around sharing pleasantries and holiday traditions and everything. And Asner's just like, bah humbug.
Very much, yeah. Of course, Asner he brings kind of the wonderful, kind of skeptical and curmudgeonly Asner we all know and love as this kind of essentially playing this con man. Basically, the conceit of this movie I find to be genius, where we have a con man stuck within his own con, where more so it's a man without the Christmas spirit stuck as Santa Claus, and that's genius. He's stuck being Santa Claus for his con to work. He's stuck in the suit for the majority of the movie.
Right.
I love the human connection that he forges, with the kids. Or basically, he's like a no-nonsense Santa to these kids, where he's like, I love he's trying to treat them right. He's like, don't worry, I'm going to square up with you kids after this. Or I'm going to make sure you get all sorts of, presents and everything. Now, I do wonder if you think it's completely just like he's purely saying this, or do you think he's going to give him some cash at the end?
I think there's an arc.
Sure.
I mean, I think at first he's probably just saying it, and then obviously by the end he's very, very empathetic and meaningful about it.
Well, I mean, sure. I'm just saying, even when it was a con, perhaps he was going to tip him before he left. I don't know.
Possibly.
I think the main way to read is, it's all talk. So it's pretty straightforward. Mm-hmm. But that's the thing. I like that he's like trying to. This is like a salt of the earth Santa that he's playing, which is really refreshing, and again, kind of adds it's like what's the ultimate con? The con where you pretty much you're not squeaky clean. It's the con where you acknowledge the faults. So, but that's the thing. I love that he's surrounded by these really connects to these kids who are in a neighborhood of like these kids are all on the precipice of going down some dark roads because they're in really kind of bad straits for the holidays, and he's been in this position. I always love that was kind of his. That kind of led to the heartwarming arc of kind of like this natural kind of progression to him forging a bond with these kids.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, like I said, it's one of the more impressive things about the movie that there's an edge to it. It's not just kind of like a very soft, rounded world. This is a world with consequences to it, and he's just kind of like diving heads first into it.
Certainly, and the big thing we kind of note within our arc here, because again, we kind of have two Scrooges in this movie, which is kind of unique. We have kind of a double Scrooge action going on here with Horace's arc, but also with Mr. Sumner later on, big time Mr. Sumner. We'll get there. But I love that we kind of boil down the fear early on in the movie, and it kind of like manifests itself as it goes on. Where McNichol's biggest fear is being alone and forgotten, which kind of started because of Lucky, his partner, abandoning him, and of course, it's implied his father was, in a sense, his father was as well, not intentionally because he kind of dies, assumedly. But still, this compels him. Basically, all this kind of compels him to take that opportunity for change to make a difference in the lives of others. I really love with the arc, where, again, how does a man... It's kind of the Walter White thing. I found some odd parallels to the Albuquerque verse in this, believe it or not. Some odd parallels. But, I love that, he's like kind of... It's like the way Walter White is trying to leave a legacy for his kids. This guy is kind of making an impact in a sense. He's going to leave like a guy who's going to like blow through town who actually kind of leaves a mark on the lives of others. Therefore, he will never be forgotten, which I thought was, quite nice. Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, really good arc. Like I said, just kind of like the nitty-gritty elements of the apartment building that he's kind of entering into. Just sort of, it just makes his arc all the more realistic, I think.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay. Jameson family, starting with the kids. Dragon, I just want to address this right up front because I it's been, I don't want to say it's been bothering me, but it's absolutely been on my mind all day. Trudy is like, she is a clone of Gertie from E.T.
I knew it! I had the same thing!
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so I'm not crazy. She didn't
No,
seem
you're
alive.
not.
I was
No.
really trepidatious about it. Am I really going to put down she's a lot like Gertie?
No, she is a lot like Gertie. Let's be clear. Let's be absolutely clear. I mean, it's like oh man, it's practically the same character, Dragon, just with a con man Santa instead of an alien.
What if E.T. was around Christmas and had a drifter instead of an alien?
Pretty much. I mean, it's the same basic concept.
But speaking of which, so Billy and Trudy, really sweet kids, I felt. I love they're not sickeningly, they're not sugary sweet,
Uh-huh.
Or at least there's a balance there. I mean, the girl might be, again, very Gertie-esque, but still, like, there's something, we have, like, with Billy, for example, I love we have, like, the tree bit with him and his father, where, he says to his father's basically intimating that we're going to be moving again, and he kind of warms his father's heart by saying, let's not tell Trudy. I don't know, she might get excitable around this time or something like that. She might be hard for her to take news. And his father's like swelling with pride. This kid gets it, man. This is a smart kid. Well, at least emotionally smart kid.
Sure.
Good sibling dynamic, like the minute he pulls his sister away from playing with the little angel pony things, just like hey, without a word of dialogue, just come on, we got Santa Claus, man. We got him in the boiler room.
Oh yeah, I love that too. Yeah, just like, hey, no, you're coming here.
Precocious little girl for sure. Like the whole, like the rest of the gym and the rest of the kids finding out. Like you told someone. I only told Heather Brown.
God damn Heather Brown. Oh man.
Yep.
So yeah, like you said, they make a really good dynamic. I think Billy is kind of like the, he's the sweet, doe-eyed kid who's still a realist.
He is. And again, the kids are very much a linchpin. I love how the kids in this aren't just like throwaway, like, we need cutesy kid characters because it's a Santa Claus movie, right? No, we don't do that here. What we do here is we use them as a way of bringing out the spirit in our counterfeit Santa Claus. Again, hence the linchpin in that story for that arc. I mean, a huge point of the McNichol character is the bond that he forges with Billy, because they have like Horace coming back at risk to himself and eventually kind of his undoing is, again, with him being the Santa Claus who plays it straight with the kids, like when he says, look, he goes back to the neighborhood to tell Billy, look, I'm not who you think I am, but you can't stop believing in things. I just love that moment so much where it comes back to the stress of like, look, I've lied. Again, it's the ultimate way of subverting the liar reveal in a sense, don't you think? Like, listen, I lied to you, but you can't worry about that right now. You just don't let all this, don't let it strike out your holiday cheer at the whimsy, okay? Don't let it kill the whimsy.
Sure.
Yeah, so again, Billy, very important in that regard, of kind of like the two of them feeding into each other's story, yeah.
Now, as for the parents, I don't have a ton to say about them, but I will say that I'm sorry, I feel like we throw around this word way too much, but they're pleasant.
Well, we kind of perfected the pleasantries and the pleasantness of character analyses, I like to think.
It's part of the DNA of the channel for sure.
But yeah, so Stuart and Clara here, they're again really nice parents. I love the subtlety on the father here. I love how he's putting the brave face on. He's very glass half full, where your mother's the realist, and you see kind of how it affected the kids in a positive sense. So they're putting on they had that the wife had such a sweet moment with the husband. They said they're not going to get each other gifts this year, and she says, you're my best friend, Mister. It's like, oh my God, these are nice. These are nice people. Let them keep their home.
What I like about it is that it's a married couple in love without a shred of like irony or cynicism.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Now, speaking of cynicism, though, Dragon.
Yes.
We've got the Sumner family.
Yeah, Sumner family of two. We got little Johnny Sumner, and we got John Sumner, and we have his father, Mr. Sumner. Such a stiff guy. We don't have a first name on him. Just Mr. Sumner. Probably
don't
makes
call
his kid
Johnny, Dragon. Don't call him Johnny.
Right.
So John Sumner, I'm just going to be straight up with you. He's kind of a fascinating character in this movie. like, I think he's easily one of the most unique elements of it for me personally. I think that I don't know. I just think that there's just something about how he's not really the main character. He's kind of floating around in the background, and he's almost the antagonist.
I mean, yes and no. You're right in that the antagonist is such a way we're given who our main character is when you think about it, you know?
Right.
But that's the thing. So John had me from the moment he gave the dog, he gave Spider, his little kind of found friend, to Billy, and again, he's kind of left him on the doorstep to be taken in by a family. The kid sacrificed something he wanted for the well-being of the thing.
Absolutely.
Which I think conveyed so much with his character. And basically, again, John is a kind of a great counterbalance to the dynamic with the kids, where John is the more skeptical version of himself. Where basically Billy and John represent two sides of our main Santa, where in his innocence and kind of his youth, probably early before his father was kind of lost to him, he was probably like Billy, a little more wide-eyed, a little more hopeful. And of course, after that, and kind of the life choices that went down the line, he became John. So I like that these kids have like a really
I'd like to think that at one point people did call him Johnny.
Sure.
And then he was like, no, from henceforth I will be called John. All right.
But that's the thing. This kid he's a little more hard knocks, a little more. He's got the he's got a more honest outlook on the situation. Basically, again, these kids are all dealing with the same situation. Only John's got the more like he's not so sugarcoat about how things may or may not go. Like he's taking hope out of the equation, knowing how bad a guy his old man is. Speaking of which, let's talk about Mr. Sumner.
Yeah, this is a weird character just because he goes from like to quote Zack Snyder Dragon, he goes from over-the-top vitriolic, which is what Zack Snyder says about his critics. Oh. I can quote it.
Oh.
He goes from over-the-top vitriolic to just straight up like, fucking Michael Caine Scrooge at the end of Muppet Christmas Carol. And honestly, I don't think it's earned.
Oh...
I'm not going to say the end result isn't nice. It's very nice. It's very well done. And I will say that how we get to that point is clever. I like it. But still, this dude is a straight-up monster at the start of this movie.
Basically, he's his own Scrooge for this
film. I mean, he is like beyond Scrooge, Dragon. He is an asshole, just a straight asshole.
I think what they're conveying here, and again, very effectively, as you can tell, he's kind of seems to be a byproduct of like of a harsh father before him. He's like continuing the cycle, unfortunately, which I really like if we kind of drive that home, and I like that our main Santa kind of puts a stop to that, and we'll get to how he does that later on. But that's the thing. I love that he's kind of like there's like a harsh like he's the way he is with John because that's the way his father was with him. It kind of intimates, and that like all these phrases seem rather stock in old world, and again from the '80s old world. It's like going further and further back to like really like what are you, a sissy? You want Christmas presents? Toughen up. Oh, that's like really, guy's a monster. Truly is. But I do like that in a twisted sense, he's using this to help his son become like him, which again is a mixed bag because he doesn't quite realize he's fledgling right now. But again, he's like, I'm going to turn him into a landowner, which, well, to like a real, like the landlord of this place.
Mm.
But again, also I love how Renee Auberjonois, I love how he's just playing this too. Where later on, especially, I love when he kind of turns like the whole like Michael Caine on 10. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I love how he just gives them the what is it, like the little deeds or whatever.
Yeah, it gives them like the little deeds, like rolled up like little diplomas or something.
Yeah. I love that.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
it's the presentation that counts, Dragon.
Basically, you have a classic. I want to say Auberjonois was like classic. He always gave the impression he was classically trained. He was a French actor. Anyway. The point being, you get a sense this guy he's playing like one of the. He's getting a chance to play Scrooge at the tail end of the thing, but he's giving it his all, man, which is just awesome. But that's the thing. So the other thing before we move on here is what John I want to hit is again. again, I like that he represents the consequence, and he's kind of like almost the Albuquerque-versian reminder that our guy that we're rooting for, he has done bad things. We can't let him off the hook. We can't let him off scot-free because you kind of like him. Again, like he kind of gave this kid false hope with like healing the dog, which again, we kill off a dog in this movie, kids.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
We will, yes. That's what I'm saying. So
practically on camera.
Pretty much. I mean, we do everything but like see the life go out of his
eyes. Right.
That's what I'm saying. So, but again, the point being, I like that we.
So, Monkey, if you're watching, never watch this movie. Monkey has a real thing with dogs dying.
Really?
I don't fault him. Some people just have it. I don't blame him for it. But
never watched John Wick.
Oh God, no.
No. I think it would balance itself out though, because like a revenge for said killing, though. I mean, it kind of balances out. I mean, it's really awful, but I mean, yeah, like anyway, vengeance aside, I think that's the point. Is I like how we justify our liar reveal with like the consequence on this kid, and you feel bad for this kid, and the whole like the epic betrayal, almost like he's begotten Santa Claus in the eyes of the other kids, like traitor. It's like it's really gruesome stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What about one of my other favorite characters in this movie? Let's talk about Detective Waters.
Dude, Fred fucking Gwynn. Are you kidding me? Right. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
As if this movie wasn't already good enough with Asner. You're gonna have Herman Munster as Asner's Yes! Yes! Give it to me!
Yep, judge from My Cousin Vinny,
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Yep. So,
Fred Gwynn, suffice to say, I love this. I think this is probably my overall favorite part of the movie. As much as I love Asner, I was not expecting Fred Gwynn to be in it. And I'm a huge Fred Gwynn fanboy, man. I grew up on Munsters. I am one of those rare people that will prefer Munsters to Addams Family any day of the week. I just think there's something about this man's face that is just so expressive that I've never seen anything like it in terms of comedy. I mean, this man can do things with his face that I can't even comprehend.
Now, I forgot that you were such a big Munsters guy.
I love Munsters. Yeah. Big time Munsters fan.
Yeah, I mean, we brought it up really briefly, probably during the Addams Family.
People say I'm as big. Dragon, I grew up in the early Nick at Night era, so I would say I'm as big of a Munsters fan as I am an I Love Lucy fan.
All right, fair enough. But I mean, again, Fred Gwynn.
It's iconic in shaping my sense of humor.
It's fine. My mother actually, she kind of had like I don't know if she like had like a whole meet and greet sort of thing with him, but I mean, she was there when he was, I believe, he was in the hospital. I don't know if it was like, I believe it was on his last legs. I can't remember if he was like literally on the way out when she saw him, but it was, yeah.
Wow.
And she saw Gwynn towards the end, I believe. But yeah, seriously, though, Fred Gwynn, he's such a great actor. Of course, he has he can play the very expressive Herman Munster, to just conveying exactly what he needs to here, to again the judge of My Cousin Vinny just being complete opposite of what he usually does, but just relishing in like the little when he moves a little, it's a lot in that movie,
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so Fred Gwynn's wonderful in this. I'm sure you got a huge kick out of his first scene, because his first scene's like it's a sort of moment where he can throw his hands up in the air and just walk out of the movie because he did such a good job. Seriously,
right.
Think about it. He comes in there in a Santa suit. He walks up and says, "Hey, your family's asking where's Santa Claus." He rips the beard off in one motion with the Fred Gwynn face. And it just says, it's like, I think it says like Lou or something. No, his name's Lou. Sorry, it's like, it's my first day. It's my first Christmas off in 6 years. My kids think I'm a rumor. It's like that line is just, it's like he doesn't need to do anything else in the movie. He could just leave after that point, and I'm satiated because he killed it with that line. And that entrance, and that, especially for you, again, that reveal must have killed you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I had no idea. Like I said, I had no idea he was going to be in it. I saw his name in the credits. I was like, say what? And then just, Dragon, he's the hand ratty. He's like absolutely Ed Asner's hand ratty in this movie.
It's Carl Hanratty from Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually
delighted by that.
Certainly. That's the thing. I love that we start him off. Like, here's the thing. The rewatch, I love that we start him off in the Santa suit, which one bonds him with McNichol. I love how the two are kind of quantumly entangled within their story. Where these guys, they're linked together on Christmas and within 8 years of each other. Because, again, he caught him, and he's going to catch him again by the end of the movie. And we use Waters as like a ticking clock where Waters is getting closer. Progressively, step by step, he's getting closer. He's literally up to the building. I love it. And this builds so well with that ultimate payoff and how they're both kind of like in the car together, both touched by the Christmas spirit, by the Christmas star. It all just kind of works. It all just works out so wonderfully. And there's a little moment with Gwen that just it's so earnest, man. I tell you, it just kind of got me. It's within the dog stuff. He interviews John. You think you, the audience member, are thinking, "Oh God, he's going to interrogate John. They're going to find out Santa Claus, and the movie's going to be over. And what's going to happen?" Where it doesn't go like that at all. He just takes the kid at face value, where he doesn't barely even ask about the Santa Claus thing. He says, "Hey, what's wrong with your dog?" Because he's carrying the dog. Like, well, he got tired and he wouldn't walk anymore. He says, "He's getting old. All you can do is keep him warm, keep him comfortable. That's all you can do." And I love that advice because it's just so earnest, but also it earns John's trust for later in the movie. It's a very important part of the film where John is going to put his trust in the stranger before he puts trust in the Santa Claus who kind of let him down. So, and also is what last thing I'm going to point out here within Waters and McNichol, and they're kind of how they parallel each other as well. I love that, but Waters, he's very honest around the holiday. It's his whole shtick because the minute he walks in, he's just very shockingly honest to the cops who are really internalizing things like, my kids think I'm a rumor. I can never be around my kids for the holidays. I'm such a dedicated cop. Where versus like this character, our main character who's all about deceit and he's all about kind of deceit and putting people on around the holidays, which again it's kind of a great kind of counter opposites in that regard. It's really nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, I think that's all our characters, right?
That's it.
Okay, so let's make a list, check it twice, and find out what in this movie is naughty and nice. All right, I'm going to point to the big naughty thing, Drake, and the big naughty thing for me, the thing that kind of, I don't want to say it killed the movie for me, but it was very noticeable.
What do you got?
Editing.
Really? The editing got you.
This thing has really slow-paced, awkward editing. I noticed a lot of scenes of just characters kind of like walking from point A to point B, like just kind of like doing things that could very easily be cut over. It felt very stiff. Obviously, it's a TV movie. Obviously, we're in an era where everything is hyper edited now. But I don't know. There's just moments to me that just drag on for just a hair too long, and I could clip 5 seconds here, 5 seconds there, and I know it's not even something that the average person is going to notice. But because I have edited a feature film before, true story.
Oh God.
No, but seriously, because I do have experience in an editing room. Those kind of things I notice them, and I notice how easy it would be to trim them. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's, like I said, it certainly doesn't kill the movie for me by any means, but still, it's there.
Right. Well, okay, here's my naughty stuff. All right. So one, there's a real on the nose expository scene that just sticks out like a big old sore thumb. You know what I'm talking about?
Not particularly.
Okay. It really stands like. Basically, I'm watching the movie. This really kind of like I'm just like, oh my! He just hits you like a slap in the face. Like, my God, I get it. All right.
all right.
Or basically, it's when we learn about the Christmas throne.
Oh yeah. God.
Here's the one we name drop is we say, okay, I'm just thinking like a little Christmas display, but no, it's literally about the throne's very important. So it's like, oh yeah, the Christmas throne. I'm so sad to see it go. Like, lady, are you really? How does this lady know so much about this throne and all the lore and the importance of it and the whole life story? Like, where is this coming from? Well, who is this lady? What's going on here? It's like she knows a lot about this thing. It's, oh yeah, they're getting rid of it Christmas Eve. It's oh god, just really on the nose. So I'm just saying that one. That was the most like abundant thing in the piece. Also, in addition to the throne link, I think it's a little. We dropped the key, yet there's like a whole riddle to open the thing. I don't know. It's kind of a stretch. So the throne, while cool looking,
I don't like the riddle.
That's what I'm saying. The throne.
I will say that. Yeah.
The throne, while cool looking, I don't necessarily mind it as a device, but I think all the stuff making it a device is kind of hokey.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. Okay, here's a problem. Don't ask if this thought crossed your mind, Tiki. How do they make a plan that very much relies on Trudy to be able to whistle when Trudy can't whistle?
yeah, that's not great.
I can't whistle, and the other kid's eating because no one told him about this, and he's spitting out like the Cracker Jacks or whatever. Let's see. It's hard. It's a little, when you really think about it, it's a little hard to buy. No one else would go down to the boiler room, given how troublesome it is, and that. Well, okay. Here's the thing. I guess he's fixing the boiler so no one comes down there, but I don't know. You'd think someone would come downstairs for something else and see this giant recliner chair, kind of this big old recliner setup and everything. Who's down here? What's going on here? I don't know. I'll give it a pass. I'm just saying it kind of sticks out a little bit. I wonder why has no one else come down? Mm-hmm. Okay, last one. The train scene. So the train scene is effective. Don't get me wrong, it's effective, it's creepy, it's haunting, it's well shot, but I think it's a little too much. I don't think we needed it. I think it's just kind of I think we can kind of read our guy might be having sex.
I mean, it's cool, though.
Yeah, it's cool.
I mean, how cool is it that we have a haunted train in a Christmas movie?
I thought you were going to jump all over that bio, because a haunted train is it's like your middle name, Tiki. You know?
Tiki, Haunted Train Linder? Yes. We all know that's my middle name.
I'm just saying, you love haunted
That's
trains.
common knowledge.
It's your thing, though. You love
I love the Hey Arnold episode, the Haunted Train. That doesn't mean it's my thing.
You love haunted stuff, and it's a haunted train, and
Sorry. Dragon, look, it's great, but honestly, the reason why I didn't Dragon, the reason why I didn't put it in my favorite moments is kind of for the reasons you just said. It's great conceptually, but it doesn't really need to be there.
I know. But still, though, again, really cool, though. But again, it kind of raises more questions than it kind of answers. There, and it disappears. It's a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, again, folks, as you can kind of tell, not a lot of naughty, kind of pedantic kind of stuff for point out for naughty, but it's what you get.
Right.
All right, so let's talk about the nice stuff, man.
I just overall, again, much like much like some of the other stuff we've covered this month for seasonal shenanigans, Dragon, nice is just the word. Much like Night Before Christmas. Is Night Before Christmas a great movie? Hell no! Is it a super duper pleasant movie? Absolutely.
You mean the night before?
No, I mean the night before Christmas.
Oh, sorry. Here's we've done this so many times. Okay, so the night with a K. It's so weird.
Yes.
Night before. Yes, I absolutely concur with you.
Right.
I again, circle.
I know.
No, but I hear it. No, I agree. Now I get it. I agree with your point. Yeah, you're right. It is very nice. Yeah, it's on that level. Yeah, it's very pleasant, very triumphant.
At the same time, it has an edge to it, which obviously Night Before Christmas did not have.
Night Before Christmas didn't kill the dog, I'm afraid.
The most edgy the Nightmare Before Christmas gets is oh no, the little girl stupidly fell onto the ice. Are we going to kill the kid? Probably not.
Yeah, is Sir Cole going to become Jack Frost?
All right.
Okay, anyway, let's see. So again, I love that. One of my favorite things. This almost made it for a moment for him, but again, there's so many good moments to pick from. I had to kind of I put it at the top here. So, I love that the Christmas Star had a point. I love that we had a really great, wonderfully acted scene with Ed Asner where he explains his own history with the Christmas Star. Where essentially we have this scene with him telling Billy about his dying father and how basically he was told by someone who consoled him about how the Christmas Star it fills you with hope. And like earlier on we set this all. I love like there's a running theme with the star, so it's not just like, hey, here's a Disney movie, we're gonna call it the Christmas Star. It's like not just that, It's not just like, well, we need a name for it. Eisner, got any ideas? Christmas Star, that'll work. It's not just like a trivial thing we're just kind of casting aside there. We kind of made it a running theme. Like when a man does a deed. When a man does a deed with no hope of reward at the cost of at just the cost to himself, then the Christmas star will shine upon him. This is all good stuff we've foreshadowed here, and I love essentially that we used the star as a compass. Because many times people use stars as compass, as a compass, and we basically use the star, the compass symbol for morality, and kind of as a painful reminder for McNichol, given the whole father connection. So like many layers to the star thing. I love that it wasn't just just kind of cavalierly kind of thrown in there.
Sure. All right, and I love the icon of the star, like the imagery of it.
Yeah.
And of course, Fred Gwynne and Ed Asner just kind of like gazing at it together. That's a great moment. Runner up for one of my favorite moments.
Yep. Again, I marvel at the gravitas and the magic that Asner brought to it. Again, without Asner in the role here, and I'd even if we had Fred Gwynne, it wouldn't be like in the starring role. So the point being, you could say,
yeah, sure. I mean, I love Fred Gwynne. He's probably my favorite character in the movie. But yeah, absolutely.
So basically, my thing is. Asner, the magic Asner brought to this, he brought to essentially what could have been a generic skeleton of a Christmas movie, right? I mean, this could have been like, if you don't put the right guy in the Santa suit, the movie, I don't think, sings at all. Do you think?
No, not really.
Because that's the thing. This thing would otherwise it would feel pretty generic, right? Like, oh, there's the. But again, we kind of that Asner sells it.
Yeah. Be kind of like if we did Christmas Chronicles without Kirk Douglas.
Russell.
Oh God, that's not the first time I've done that. I'm sorry.
But I just love this beautiful idea that we have a Santa Claus that made all these miracles happen without any magic, and he wasn't even the real Santa Claus. That's such a lovely idea, and that we explore here. We showcase people on the other side of the tracks around the holiday season. Well, we see people having a tough time without being like Tiny Tim levels of sad, but kind of getting there.
Mm-hmm.
I like how we use Waters as a ticking clock. Again, we have the guts to kill the dog. Let's see. We justify McNichol in the Santa suit for the majority of the film. Because logically he'd get out of that Santa suit when they bring him some grandpa clothes, you'd think, right? But no, like if he's operating with these kids, they're going to want to see him.
Yeah.
So there's a logic to it.
I would say the biggest leap in logic for me, Dragon, is that he did ditch the suit immediately.
It is, but again, he had nothing to change into.
That's true. That's
the thing. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you're right, though. But I think it legitimizes itself when you really think about it. Again, I love the subtlety. Basically, I have a lot of subtlety in all the performances. But I mean, like the father, Stuart Jameson. He's a good father. We have like moments like that. Making water. I love the moment with Waters. Fred Gwynne is a great moment in the movie where we show him as a smart cop, where he recognizes they have the wrong Santa once, because he knows McNichol's face. It would be in real BS if he like, hey, you Santa Claus, I know you're the one with the cane. You're the one we're looking for. He says, no, stop. He's not the guy. Without even like removing the beard or anything. He gets it. Let's see. We're stressing the charm of Santa Claus. Okay, so let me talk about the Albuquerque verse for a moment. I love that again. We have like the moral. I love like the moral ambiguity applied to the Santa Claus, where again we're not forgetting that the big lie. This guy's doing some important things. He's turning children and he's turning children to co-conspirators in his crime to steal $500,000. That's really bad, and we don't let him off the hook in the end. It's like we're stressing the charm, but we're not forgetting the moral complexity. And a movie gets kind of intended for kids. I think it's an important thing to get in there. I like that we did.
Sure.
course, the whole "Hark the Angels Sing." Could the movie get any happier by the end? Where he's like, "Okay, we're gonna have Santa lead a choir of prisoners, and we're just gonna show everyone having the best Christmas. All these
Yeah,
Christmas
absolutely,
movies
absolutely.
It's just awesome.
It sticks to landing with the Christmas cheer. That's for damn sure.
You haven't seen something like that since Scrooge, and they're coming out both in the '80s, I think. Wait, was Scrooge in the Scrooge was in the '80s?
Oh yeah, Scrooged with Bill Murray.
Yeah, that one.
Pretty sure that was '90s.
Wait, really?
I'll Google it.
You
really
might be
quick.
right. I'm saying you entirely might be. I could have sworn it was like late like '89, maybe.
Pretty sure it was early '90s. I'm
You're
Googling
probably
it
right
now.
Yeah.
Scrooge, 1988. You were right.
So that's why I doubt myself. All right. Okay. Let's see. So one last thing. I mean, did this touch your heart at all? Just the whole at the very end, was like a little thing. They didn't have to do it. Doesn't add anything to the movie. Doesn't take anything away.
Oh my god.
The season's greetings from the
Yes.
Disney.
Yes. That was back when Disney wasn't trying to take over the world, Dragon.
Yep, back before the Pinky and the Brain days.
Right.
Or at least before they figured out how to actually do it. So.
Oh dear God.
But it's just quite nice. It's again per your whole the night before Christmas with a K. I mean, yeah. Got anything else, or should we go into like the big kind of merry moments of it all?
I think that's about it.
All right.
So, moments, yeah. Who goes first?
I think, God, trying to remember chronologically where yours start. No, you go first. Yeah, it's you.
Joy, because, oh boy, I didn't write down my moments, Dragon. This is super embarrassing.
Oh my God.
I am off my. I told you I'm off my game.
Yeah, I'm kind of noticing that through the duration of our little conversation here. Okay, the boiler room, Tiki. The boiler room.
Right, boiler room. Okay, right. So I have the boiler room, I have the letter writing, and then I have, shit.
I realize you took one of my moments. I mean, how do you forget that? When you...
Well, I remember the letter writing. I remember that one.
Oh, sure, yeah. Anyway, okay. So then,
I know. The choir distraction.
He can be taught. Okay, go on.
All right. I'm so sorry. That's super embarrassing.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so the boiler room. This is just the physical comedy moment, Dragon. I have this in here for nothing but the physical comedy of it. I just love the dad. So basically, the dad comes down to the basement while they're talking to the fake Santa. What do? They throw a frickin' tarp over him, Dragon.
So now there's firewood, and this is like an old school boiler room, kids. So boiler room with a big old fire. Basically, you toss wood into, and basically have a whole bunch of chopped, firewood, or hanging around the place. So now, presumably, on a pile of firewood, we have a tarp draped over. Unbeknownst to Daddy, Santa Claus or fake Santa Claus underneath the tarp.
Right. So he just throws the log straight onto Asner.
like throwing throwing the canned food onto Marty McFly in Back to the Future.
Exactly.
It's like, oh boy.
And then of course we have him stepping on Asner's hand. The reaction, him just not trying not to scream. It's nothing special, Dragon, but it is probably the closest thing we have to an E.T. moment where they're, trying to hide the alien, if you will.
Yeah, we don't quite have Ed Asner kind of hiding in a display window of Santa Claus. Imagine the ending of the Santa Claus, the post-credit scene of the Santa Claus 2, where you had all the Santa Claus dancing. Imagine you had Ed Asner in there.
But yeah, I just like it for the physical comedy. What can I say?
I just realized something. We actually do have an E.T. We could have had an E.T. moment because we have all those Santa Clauses in a crowd surrounding Fred Gwynn. We could have slipped them in there. Okay, no, but yeah, right.
Okay, I mean that wouldn't have been the same as the stuffed animals.
No, I'm saying that's close to the stuffed animals, a crowd of Santa Clauses. Though.
Sure. Okay, so then we have the list. Dragon, are you on the list?
You have to check it twice to find out.
Yeah, I'm making fun of heroes.
I know, I figured that, but I'm not.
I will never pass up a chance to make fun of that stupid "Are you on the list" thing, even though nobody remembers it.
Yeah, no one remembers it.
I know, that's the way, that's my point. It was supposed to be the replacement to save the cheerleader, save the world, and it just tanked.
And yet, how many people have gotten that reference?
Anyways.
Anyway, so yes, Santa's got a little list.
So Dragon, this is like absolutely the the grumpy Ed Asner coming around moment that I just love. It just absolutely melts my heart every time. I mean, just just this whole group of kids. Like at first he's like, "No, what are you doing, fucking Heather Brown or whatever her name is?"
No, it's Heather Brown.
I got it right. Yay! Like, come on. But then, first of all, he sees the opportunity. Like, wait a minute. Whole bunch of kids, better than one kid or two kids at pulling off this scheme. And then, just, I don't know, Drake, there's just something so humble about just, like, Asner just being like, well, aren't you gonna ask me what you want? And, go ahead.
I just love seeing Asner again. Like, it's like everything we love about the man distilled into him. Again, this man who's just trapped in his con, actually kind of fulfilling what that con's all about, where he's becoming Santa Claus. He's kind of, and it's not just like writing the kids off. He's kind of talking with them though, and it's like Asner's kind of talking with kids and writing down what they want. It's all bantery. It's kind of nice. Like, oh boy, you want that? You might be really good. It's like so wonderfully grandfatherly of Asner's kind of getting it in there. It's just something really charming about it. And again, I think it's a big tentpole for what gets us invested in our Santa Claus as the con goes on.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then is that all you have to say about it? Because it's just a super nice moment. Just Ed Asner letting his guard down.
Exactly. I think it's a charming little scene. Again, like the list also comes back later on. It's like the big thing. Like he took the time to write down all these things these kids want, and All
right, so we're going to go ahead and parlay the army of kids that Asner has. I'm sorry, I know his name's McNichol Dragon. I'm sorry, I'm just now realizing I'm saying Asner way too much. Yep. But we're going to take this army of kids that McNichol has acquired, Dragon, and we're going to sick them on an unsuspecting security guard. Just like I just love how this is edited, Dragon. I love how this is edited, where like, the kids like. They just, they start singing the Christmas carols, and the security guard, he's at first kind of like, well, all right, kids, I guess you can, let's hear it. It is Christmas, season's greetings and everything. All right. And of course, we have our Jameson kids sneaking into the mall. And then, Dragon, I fucking love the cutaway gag of, like, as the Jameson kids are trying to get into the throne, we cut away, and the guard is super into it. And like everyone's like all the kids are like playing the instruments like out of tune, and it's just like it sounds really bad, but still the guard's just like he's having a grand old time, man. And then of course I like I feel like this whole thing kind of uses the rule of threes in a very good way, Dragon, because we kind of circle back around to the guard being like, all right, kids, enough, this is ridiculous, this is going on for like 20 minutes, get home. So just overall, Dragon, I just like I love that it's like it's just such a great little little interlude, little cutaway. Really good. Probably the best editing in the whole movie, if I'm being honest, because I did harp on the editing earlier.
Yes, I mean, after all, the editor on this didn't do what was it, Cloverdale?
God, yes, it was Cloverdale, Dragon. Yes.
Right. Anyway.
All right. And then also I just love the payoff to this. Like, hey, did a group of kids singing Christmas carols just come through her? Yeah, you just missed them.
Oh god, it's really funny. All right, on to my moments then. Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go. So, so we got McNichol listening in on the building's trouble. So I thought this was a really ingenious conceit. So basically after he's gotten the key, it's going to get into the throne before, well, things get complicated. Further point. I love that, he's just kind of basically cleaning off this little key, a little workbench down in the basement, down the boiler room, listening to some Christmas music. And what I love that he's wearing little Santa glasses. I love that he's wearing the Santa glasses. It's really nice. But it's basically kind of like some kind of octagonal sort of thing, but just kind of looks very Santa-y, which is nice. But anyway, so importantly though, this in the through the pipes of the boiler room, I guess, like through the pipes or something. You have this whole kind of system coming from different rooms that are kind of like basically, if you listen, you can hear what's going on in the other parts of the apartment complex or the boarding house, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a clever way, again, along with like the Santa list that this kind of like would also lead to. It's McNichol becoming more and more Santa Claus like in a really practical way that kind of more that moves the arc forward. You know, it's just so ingenious. It's so natural. He turns the music down. He's listening in like Santa. It's like the whole he knows when you're sleeping. It's like the whole Santa Claus knows everything. And I love the subtlety of performance that Asner kind of conveys in the scene, just listening, but also like there's this heartbreaking moment where he hears he hears the Sumners. Here's the Sumners, and the whole the sad exchange of "toughen up, boy, what are you, a sissy?" That whole thing, and he says like, "Look at me, John." And he says like what? Basically, wants a response from John, and Asner wonderfully conveys, "Yes, sir," as the kid says, "Yes, sir," because he's been in that kid's shoes, man. Which is like, oh my god, that's such good acting. As I'm saying, Asner never just kind of doesn't bring it, man. He's fully, oh my god, he comes to impress. And also he's hearing about the kind of the loving sacrifices of the Jameson family, which again also kind of maybe again like them having saying they're not going to get each other gifts for Christmas, but they have each other. So again, we're conveying so much onto our Santa Claus in a scene like that, which is really nice. All right. Next, Santa Claus's card trick. Basically, a little fortune-telling, a little kind of sardonic fortune-telling scene with John. So this is a big, I love this. Yet again, Asner's acting in this scene is sublime. It's kind of the theme with all these moments, mind you, but go with me on it. So it's a brilliant and real scene. I love how real and grounded this scene is, where it's a grounded demonstration of McNichol's criminal perceptiveness as he's dealing with, okay, now, this is before we get all the kids in the neighborhood on. It's basically now John is kind of listened in, he's kind of literally fallen into their little con. So now our con man realizes, okay, I gotta turn this kid, because obviously I can't do anything bad to him. Not that I want to, but I can't like duct tape him to a chair or anything. I gotta make this work. So he comes up with okay, he's an older kid, which means the Santa Claus cell is gonna be not gonna be as easy as with the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
So what he does is especially armed with the information from that earlier scene I mentioned, he knows that he's been this kid. He recognizes this kid's life, and he basically, he kind of demonstrates magic in like a very grounded sense, like the old magician tricks of the coin from the ear, and then like the card tricks, and basically do like a little fortune telling with the cards, like king and queen and ace of spades, which basically he recognized that kid. It's a thief recognizing what another kid wants, where you want what you can't have. And of course a thief would feel this way, where it's like you covet what the other kid has. You covet the better life. You covet the mother. You covet the father who listens to you. You covet the dog that you had to give up. And of course mentioning the dog is sick. And of course the ace of spades being a very operative card, given the death card of it all. Really clever. And just the way Asner, he complete in like less than 2 minutes, probably a minute, he sold the skeptical kid.
Yeah.
And like the kid Brad has tears in his eyes because he's so moved by the Santa Claus. He says, "Can you save him? Can you save my dog?" And he says, "Let's see what Santa Claus can do." It's amazing.
Oh boy, but it's gonna lead into something.
It does. All right, last scene for me, last moment. So Santa Claus, while he cannot bring back the dead, unfortunately, he can end the cycle of abuse. So we have Santa Claus scaring old man Sumner straight. So this is a great. I love how this scene was shot, man. We have creepy green lighting. We don't even see Santa Claus until like halfway to the end of the scene. It's this basically we have like a mini Christmas Carol, like all the ghosts combined into one menacing Ed Asner Santa Claus. And this is kind of McNichol's like moment where he's come to grips with, okay, I'm going to become Santa Claus for these kids. So he becomes a Santa Claus on his terms, which is a criminal Santa Claus, which again is kind of like his version of like I am the danger for Santa Claus, like his Heisenberg Santa, if you will. He's bringing it here where he just where again we just have this This we have also a great performance in Renee Auberjonois kind of playing a terrified Scrooge in this scene, where we just have Santa Claus with that edge and that gruffness, ending the cycle of abuse, kind of protecting the kid that he let down in a sense, which is really nice. Is you and I are going to have ourselves a little talk. You
Oh yeah.
But he's so intimidating. I love it. It's just, God, it's like
we don't need to see what that talk is, Dragon.
Yeah, you don't, because again, like the whole like, yes, what? Yes, Santa. It's great. It's a great. Oh, it's fantastic. And that brings us to an end to our little merry journey, Tiki. We gotta let's regale ourselves with the wisdom that we've incurred in this long winter's journey.
The long winter's journey, yes. All right. So, final thoughts. I mean, this is just. It's such a rough around the edges Christmas movie in the best of ways, where, it's got an edge to it, man. It really does. Like I said, we literally killed the dog practically on camera. Like, if that's not ballsy for a Disney made-for-TV holiday movie, I don't know what the hell is. But not only do we kill the dog, it's not for shock factor. It shakes the foundation of one of the characters. It leads to some major consequences. So I love that. It's not just like, oh, we killed the dog. It's like, no, we killed the dog for a reason. It's got a ton of weight behind it.
If anyone's just thinking the movie's sadistic that we just killing dogs left and right, just so you know, like, he gets a new puppy at the end of the thing, so everything's fine.
Well, he gets a new puppy at the end of Old Yeller, too, but that doesn't make it less traumatic.
I think that's a fair point. I'm not saying it's not traumatic. I'm just saying for the people who are really worried, like, oh god, we're just killing dogs left and right this way. No, there's a
it's
happy
like the
PS.
John Wick of holiday movies.
That's what I'm saying. We're
no, but seriously, I think the kids work really well off of Ed Asner, and I was absolutely delighted by Fred Gwynn. I can't say enough nice things about Fred Gwynn in this movie, Dragon. He made my viewing. I knew I was going to love Asner, but I had no idea I had Gwynn to geek out about. So yeah, overall, I'm sure this is going to be a fairly low-rated podcast in terms of, like, in terms of viewership. But for God's sakes, people, get on Disney Plus, watch this. You won't regret it.
Right. Final thoughts for me. I think it's a travesty this film has become lost to the ages. Really, I do. Asner has always, as I said earlier, Asner's always said, he loved playing Santa Claus, and I thought there's a question really, because he's played it a couple times. There is a question of I'm left with after this movie. I wonder if all the times he's mentioned he's loved playing Santa Claus. Nothing against his performances. He's great as Santa Claus enough, but it's a small role. It's like a full-on kind of Santa Claus, but again, not technically Santa Claus. Because he's a man pretending to be Santa Claus. But that's what I'm saying. I'm left wondering perhaps if this was the performance he was talking about all these years, because this was really good. This is a really compelling performance of a Santa Claus that he kind of brought to life. This might have been the one he was talking about, maybe over Elf. I don't know. Could have been both. Could have been all. This movie presents an excellent, unconventional Santa Claus. It's got a great heart to it. It's got good actors. Now on Disney Plus, hopefully more people will get the chance to see it, because if we learn anything from this film, movies like this shouldn't die alone and be forgotten, as McNichol fears will happen to him. We can't let that happen, folks. We gotta keep the memory alive of this movie. We gotta make sure it made an impact. If it hadn't before, maybe it can now. Maybe because people can see it now. Maybe because people are looking for holiday movies. Maybe there's a chance. Maybe there's a chance we can all go home and see the Christmas star.
All right. So, peeking up underneath the wrapping paper, Dragon, we have got a big finale for you guys. I got to admit, Dragon, I'm sure I have seen this. I am sure I have seen it. But these Rankin Bass films, man, they just get lost in the shuffle for me. I've seen all of them, but they just kind of bleed into one kind of thing for me. It's hard to differentiate them. So going into this, Santa Claus is Coming to Town. It's going to be kind of like a new movie for me, just because I remember every year I just watch like all of these like in a row, just kind of like one after the other. So, and I haven't watched it in a long time, so I'm excited about it. Of course, it's the prequel to The Year Without a Santa Claus.
That it is.
So, kind of a Santa Claus origin movie, if you will. Will it hold up to Klaus? I don't think so.
But it did come first.
It did. All right, Dragon, take us out.
All right. Time to dash away all, but as we wave goodbye, don't you cry. We'll be back again next time.
With even more seasonal shenanigans.
Fa la la
La
la
la la
la
la
la
la.
la.
My kids think I'm a myth.
A rumor.
I'm a rumor. That's the word.